I'm also. Yes.
Yes, please.
Please start.
So, good morning, guests and fellow Toastmasters. A warm welcome to 120th meeting of the Gabbys Toastmaster. I'm Toastmaster Utkasha, your SAA for today. And I'm damn sure that you will be as excited as I am for this meeting. So this meeting is blocked for 2 hours, and you are expected to stay to attend the entire meeting. Before kicking off our meeting, there are a few points that I want to highlight. Your video should be on and audio should be off. Your audio should be on when only you need to speak or call to speak. So regarding the topics of sex, religion, and politics, though Toastmasters International doesn't put any restrictions on this, but please be mindful while you're expressing your views on such topics. We, as a club, and also be cognizant of the fact that we, as a club, practice inclusion and diversity in letters and in spirit. And hence, there are no sexist, racist, or any such undertones which will create hostility and discomfort for the members or any guest. So without any ado, let me call the presiding officer for today, that is the gem of Gabbys. She's an EduCom lead and a post area director of Area E2 District, certified image coach and a personal branding coach. She won many awards like Outstanding Toastmasters Award and the Grand Slam Master Award. So now please help me welcome the presiding officer to DTM Nancy. Over to you, DTM Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Utkarsha, for an extravagant introduction this morning. My dear fellow Toastmasters, that's our Sergeant at Arms. Please give a huge round of applause to our Sergeant at Arms. It's been long since I took up presiding officer role at the Gabbys Toastmasters Club. I must say it's an absolute pleasure to preside over 120th meeting of this club. What is Gabbys? They say we are a bag of flesh, bones, and blood, revolving around, sitting on a spinning rock. Well, when we have 42 more such bags of flesh, blood, and bones, along with a few guests, I can see 3 more, revolving together, learning, unlearning, and relearning together every Saturday at 10 a.m., sitting on the same spinning rock. That's what we call the Gabbys Toastmasters Club. I now call this meeting to order. I would like to warmly acknowledge the presence of our esteemed guests. Please stay with us till the end. I would like to take your feedback. I know we have Toastmaster Shashank, who is VP Education of Bangalore Toastmasters Club. He is our GE. Today he'll be introduced later. We have pricing. We have Pratyush Jaiswal. We would like to know you more towards the end of the meeting. Did you ever watch those romantic movies? It's a question to all. Those Raj Simran, Rahul Anjali, Max Lizzie, those kind of movies where two protagonists are in love with each other. They struggle hard to run away from societal norms, from their family, and finally they meet. Anyone? Does that ring a bell? I can see just our Timor. She's the only one in love. Okay, Utkarsha. Somewhere, somehow we have come across these kind of stories. But what always triggered me, I just wanted to know what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next when they meet? And eventually I got to know, when love fades, life begins. And that's the time of moments of truth. Now, are you able to relate? Something similar is our rundown for today's meeting. We have a lovely theme followed by moments of truth session. We'll be getting to know more about today's session. Before I talk all about what's going to happen next, let me call upon our Toastmaster of the day. To take this meeting further, we have a yoga practitioner, trainer, and a globetrotter who is a finance professional working with Cardinal Health International India. Please welcome, with a thundering round of applause, our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Neha Jain.
Thank you so much, Presiding Officer, for that warm welcome. Before I get started, can I see everyone on the camera, please? I'd like to know how many of them followed the theme of the day today. I can only see Nancy and Neon, of course, our GE, and who else? Saurav can qualify for Neon. Yeah, okay. Nobody else? Can everyone come on the camera once, please? Vijaya says that you're in Neon, but does not look like. Who else? Everyone on camera are Grammarian, Prince, Toastmaster Nagesh, Pratyush. All right, so good morning, everyone. Before I get into the theme of the meeting, I'd like to know how many of you Googled those words. Honestly, please raise your hands. How many of you Googled those words? Google the words, Google the pronunciation, anyone? Utkarsha did, okay. So can you tell us what's the meaning, what's the pronunciation? You are on mute, Utkarsha.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the pronunciation, but I'll say the first word is amore, the second word is amo, and the third, I don't remember, but all the word means love.
Amazing, yes, that's what it means. All three words. It's amore, amor, and amore, which means in Spanish, French, and Italian, and it all means love. Different languages, but it all means the same. So through the ages, philosophers, scientists, dreamers, and poets have striven towards one single goal: to perfectly define love. Scientists say it's a release of some specific biochemicals. Dreamers and poets call it a fiery passion. Many of us have defined love as a spell binding and even misery at times. But did we all know that it's not just an emotion? Diving below the astral space, you will experience love when your pet leaps towards you with joy. It is in your feeling towards your favorite dish, in the peacock's dance in the rain, and between the mother and baby of every species. Basically, it's just everywhere you see. We've been trying to express love since ages. We've been trying hard, from Valentine's Day cards and heart-shaped candies to love letters and gifts, and the care and concern we show to our loved ones. Still, it doesn't feel enough. It remains indescribable, inexpressible, and today we are going to hear some of these interesting, exciting, and passionate stories throughout the meeting. Are you all ready? While everyone's thinking of their passionate love stories, let me quickly take you through the structure of this meeting. The first section is going to be the prepared speech section. wherein our club members would deliver speeches based on their levels in their parts. And today we have 2 prepared speeches, by the way, followed by the evaluation of these prepared speeches by their respective evaluators. And then we have the general evaluation section, wherein our GE Toastmaster Shashank Bhatt, along with his tag team, DTM Saurav Datta, Toastmaster Shilpa, and Toastmaster Govardhan, will give us a detailed feedback about the meeting. Post that, our VP membership, DTM Saurav Datta, will take us through the Moments of Truth session. So this is the structure of today's meeting. Pragya, can you go on mute, please? Yeah, thank you. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to the GE for today's meeting, who is the founder and trainer at Staxo Academy. He's also a tax consultant at a reputed CA firm in Bangalore, a guest faculty at various universities and training institutions. He's a member and vice president, education of Bangalore Toastmasters Club, which is the second oldest club and one of the largest Toastmasters club in India. With an experience of over 6 years, Toastmaster Shashank has trained over 6,000 individuals, including students, chartered accountants, foreign delegates, corporate and government employees, officers, and auditors of CAG. Whew. Please welcome with a huge round of applause our GE for today, Toastmaster Shashank Bhatt. Over to you, Toastmaster Shashank.
Thank you, Toastmaster Neha, for a lovely introduction. Welcome everyone to meeting number 120. As the general evaluator for today, it is my duty and responsibility to keep an eye on how the meeting goes from the time the meeting starts till the time it is adjourned. We have a comparatively shorter meeting today because of a special session a little later today. Having said that, why is the role of GE very important? I still remember this time many years ago when I was writing my first ever professional exam, the CA Foundation exam. It was called Central Proficiency Test back then. People say it is one of the most difficult exams in the world. I started this after my +2, which is second PUC. And when I was in my first year BCom, when the results were supposed to come out, I was sitting in my class, chilling with my friends. And then suddenly it hit me that today is the results day because all of them are excited. Well, I was not because I knew I would flunk anyways. But then when I saw that people are texting saying all the best, we have the results coming up today, hope we all pass. I was okay. I thought 20, 30 people, 40 people texting in the group, all of them would pass and I would not. But later, after some time, I then realized, oh, it's a life-changing moment. If I pass, then I'll go places. I started getting tensed. From a casual attitude, my mindset changed towards a little more serious level. At that point of time, my friend just gave me a call casually, wishing me the best. And then I told her, well, I'm not surprised at all. I'm not scared at all because I know I would fail anyways. But then she told me, you wrote your exam. If you gave your best, then there are only 2 options. You would pass or you would fail. But think about the consequences which happen later. And then I told her, okay, forget about me. All the best to you because you're more concerned. You're more expecting than me. I told her, all the best, do well. And then she told me one line which hit me properly. See, you telling me all the best will not change the fact that I'll pass. If I was supposed to fail, I will not pass just by you wishing me the best. But it will just give me some hope or some courage to face the result at least. Right? So as the general evaluator again, it is my role to talk about all the positives as well as some negatives, if any, about the meeting. And just to give a heads up as to where we are and what we can do better or what we are doing exceedingly well so that we are better prepared for the next time. And a little more about my role a little later once again. But before I stop my cat from troubling from behind the monitor, Right. So before I hand over, I have a very big and very bright and very experienced team of professionals and all-rounders assisting me in performing my job. It's known as the tag team. The timer for today, DTM Saurav Datta, is a person with very, very good experience in corporate level, having very good experiences at top level at various companies. He's also the Division B Director of District 92 and also the VP membership of the Gabbys Toastmaster Club. Can I request DTM Saurav to please read out his role?
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. So we are, as a GE, I'm going to time all the speakers, evaluators, and role takers in the course of the meeting. For the speakers, we have got a prepared, today we have got only prepared speeches, and today we have got only prepared speeches and evaluations because we have got a moment of truth meeting coming up. We don't have a table topic. For prepared speeches, the timing is 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will be showing the green card, at 6 minutes, the yellow card, and at 7 minutes, the red card. After that, we'll have the evaluations. For the evaluators, the timing will be as follows. At 2 minutes, the green card, at 2 minutes, 30 seconds, the yellow card, and at 3 minutes, the red card. However, there is a grace period for all of us to wrap up our speeches, which is 30 seconds at both ends, which means that for prepared speeches, you will be qualified as long as you're speaking for a minimum of 4 minutes, 30 seconds and a maximum of 7 minutes, 30 seconds. And for evaluators, you'll be qualified for polling if you're speaking for a minimum of 1 minute, 30 seconds and a maximum of 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Please note that we have our polls just after the sections are done, which means that the speakers poll will happen right after the speakers, the speeches. And I would be sharing the timing report on chat for the benefit of everyone so that we know that who's qualifying for polling and who isn't. I'll be back with my timer report when invited by the GE to do so. Back to you, GE Toastmaster Shashank.
Thank you, DTM Saurav, for explaining your role very well. We have the R counter for today, Toastmaster Shilpa, who is an ex-corporate, an entrepreneur by heart, a night owl just like me. She's professionally an image consultant and a corporate coach. She also likes riding, traveling, adventures, and also cooking. Can I please ask Toastmaster Shilpa to read out the guidelines for the R counter?
Thank you so much, Shashank. Good morning, each one of you. I'll be noting, I'll listen to each one of you very carefully and be noting down mainly three kind of things. One is fillers such as and all. Any crutch words, including and, well, you know, kind of words. And also any repetitive words that you would use like I, very, etc. And at the end of the meeting, I'll report the number of times that each of you use these kind of expressions. I'll show you the report. That's my job, and thank you so much. Over, back to you, Sasha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shilpa. We now have the grammarian, Toastmaster Govardhan, who is a sustainability enthusiast. He likes playing cricket, badminton, chess. He's also a freelancer in consulting and writing. He also manages portfolios in financial markets. Can we please have Toastmaster Govardhan to read out the role of the grammarian?
Thank you, Toastmaster Shashank. So, as a grammarian, it is an important role in helping all the club members improve their grammar and vocabulary. Today, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. So I'll take notes of all the key usages that would be used in the meeting from all the members and present a report along with General Evaluator Shashank towards the end. For word of the day, can I have screen share?
We didn't get you. Govardhan, what did you say?
Yeah, screen share. I'm just sharing my screen. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So today's word of the day is vivid, which turns out to bright, intense, or memorable. And if, for example, in usages, the dream was so vivid that it felt like a real experience. And in another example, the vivid colors of the flowers left a long-lasting impression. So for now, that's the word of the day, and that's over to you, Toastmaster Sitan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Govardhan, for explaining your role. I now hand it over to the Toastmaster of the day. I'll come back with my report towards the end of the meeting. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, General Evaluator, for introducing your team to us. And now moving on. In the words of Michael Jordan, what is love? Love is playing every game as if it's your last. And today we will be playing an interesting game called the Wheel of Confession, wherein everybody from the audience can volunteer. And if you don't, I'm randomly going to choose someone. And like I mentioned at the start of the meeting, we are going to hear some interesting, exciting, and passionate stories throughout the meeting. And now it's time to spin that wheel of confession. So who is ready? Who is going to be the first volunteer? Or do you want me to pick? Come on. I can see Siddharth unmuted.
Yeah, I'm not. I just came back. I'm not sure what I'm volunteering for, but chalo, tell me.
Yes, that's the spirit. Come on, Siddharth. Can I see you on camera, please?
Yeah, okay, let me get a shirt on.
Yes, I will present my
You
screen.
catch me at the wrong time. I've just come back from football. So.
That's okay. That's okay. We'd love to hear your candid stories. Okay, so I'm going to spin the wheel now. And whatever question comes up, you're supposed to answer that very candidly and very honestly. Okay, what is the best Valentine's Day gift that you've ever got?
It's going to be a very sad answer. Let me paint a picture.
Oh my God,
I
come
don't
on.
think I've had a Valentine's Day. I don't think I've gone out on a date on Valentine's Day since 2011. Yeah, what we call a Saktalanda. So with that context being said, I will tell you what the best Valentine's Day gift is that I've gotten. Whenever it's on a weekend and I get an odd day off, that seems to be the best Valentine's Day gift. Why? Now let me tell you why. See, it seems it seems very standard, but it's all about amor, Valentine's Day. Now, when I get a day off of work, I get to focus on what I love the most, or who I love the most, which fortunately, unfortunately, in this case, is me myself. So yeah, that is the best best gift I can get. Just a day off, just to relax. Maybe 10 hours of sleep.
That's amazing. Self-love is the best Valentine's Day gift you've ever got. That's a great take on that.
I wish I could have given something more in line with what y'all wanted, but yeah, amor kya hota hai?
All right. That was a great take. Self-love. We all should spend some time on self-love. That's what I take away from whatever you said. The second volunteer, quickly, before we move on to the prepared speech section. One more volunteer. Come on, come on, come on.
Neha, just a suggestion, pick up the ones who are not on camera.
Oh, yes, that's a great idea, presiding officer. Okay, I'm going to pick Pratyush Jaiswal. Toastmaster, are you a Toastmaster? Are you a guest?
Yeah. I am a Toastmaster. I'm the president at Arcadis Toastmasters Club.
Okay,
I joined learned from you.
All right, welcome to Gabbys then. And now I'm
Yeah.
going to spin the wheel for you. Let's see.
Am I
What's
audible?
the-
One second.
Yes, you are audible.
On the line.
Which celebrity would you most like to be your Valentine? That's an interesting question. Which celebrity would you most like to be your Valentine?
Not thought about this.
No celebrity crushes that you have?
Crushes, but then to spend time with, I would like to learn from them a lot, and then obviously, yeah. So as far as maturity goes and beauty goes, I would pick like what my mind is able to think, I would pick Aishwarya Rai. She has been a lot experience in terms of various things, in terms of her career, relationships, and all the different terms. And yeah, so I would like to pick her, learn from her a lot, and from like professionally in relationships and all the things. What I would like to understand women a little better, if possible. Yeah, yeah. So that's just what comes to my mind right now.
So your choice would be someone with beauty and brain.
Yeah, yeah. Experience.
Clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly. Experience in relationships, is that a compliment? Of course it is. All right. So moving on to the next section of today's meeting. Before I introduce the speaker, our first speaker, let me introduce the evaluator of the speaker one. She is a data scientist working at Amazon by profession, a computer science graduate from BITS Pilani. Shrishti believes that being one's true self is the best version to present to the world. She enjoys reading books, watching movies in her free time. She was my debate partner once, and she was my very first evaluator for the icebreaker and someone who is very easily approachable. Toastmaster Shrishti, can you please read out the project objectives of your target speaker, please?
Thank you, Toastmaster Neha, for that wonderful introduction. And a very warm good morning to everyone to this vivid morning. I'm sure everyone is enjoying the theme. I definitely am. So as an evaluator, my target speaker is attempting her L1P2, vocal introduction to vocal variety and body language. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice using vocal variety and body language to enhance her speech. So I would be noting down the points and will share my feedback when called upon by the GE. All the best to my target speaker. Back to you, Timur.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shrishti. And now coming to the first speaker of the day. She is a fun-loving person and enthusiastic learner who loves to learn and improve herself at every step of life. She's basically a patent engineer and has worked as a lecturer and a patent engineer at various law firms before taking a break to explore the other aspects of life. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Toastmaster Vijaya. Creating an inclusive environment. Creating an inclusive environment, Toastmaster Vijaya. Vijaya, can you please confirm if you can see the timer?
Yeah. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Clap your hands if you ever had to deal with glossophobia. Clap your hands if you ever had to deal with mental illness. Clap your hands if you ever had to deal with anxiety. Did you know anxiety is the most common health condition that affects millions of people worldwide? People with anxiety often experience intense feelings of fear, worry, and nervousness. I did not know much about anxiety, and I used to be always ignorant about it. People would say stuff like, you know, he or she has anxiety or depression. And I would be like, why? Is it because of losing their dear one? Or is it because someone is having an issue with a boy or a girl? Later, I became aware about the anxiety when I saw more people started suffering of it in this fast-paced lifestyle. Further, when I started noticing something of it in me, I was like, oh God, even I'm having some symptoms of it. 3 years ago, I started facing anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, and unease, as I said earlier, which can be mild or severe. It is a normal and often healthy emotion, but it can become overwhelming or debilitating when it is excessive and persistent. Anxiety can manifest in physical symptoms just like racing heart rate, sweating, difficulty breathing, and so on. When you have mental illness, every single day is a battle. Some days I love myself, and some days I just can't get out of the bed. I shut down emotionally and think about the things which are not going to likely happen any time. Many times I claimed I was busy. I was busy not in a way most people understand. I was busy taking deeper breaths. I was busy silencing irrational thoughts. I was busy calming my racing heart. And I was busy telling myself, I am okay. Anxiety can put a lot of strain on relationships, and that can sometimes become more isolating. Friends and family feel more worried or stressed for their dear one because they don't want to see them stressed. Remember, the most important thing is that everyone may not experience the anxiety in a similar way. Sometimes the heaviest burden that one can carry might not be the weight on their shoulders. It can be the thoughts in their heads. You do not know what one might be going through. The person may be smiling from the outside, but what is going on inside, only the person who is living it will know the whole story. So the best thing you can do is to be kind to everyone. You never know the internal battles what others are fighting. So I always say, be kind to them and be supportive to them. Trust me when I say this, as much as physical fitness is important, mental fitness is equally important. As we exercise and do workouts for our physical fitness, we need to maintain our mental fitness as well to keep ourselves mentally fit. So I figured it out. For the mental fitness, we need to go to mental gym. Surprised? Yes, we need to go to mental gym. There are a wide range of treatment modalities for anxiety disorders. If you have illness of the mind, then you need to see a mind therapist. So that's what I did, and it helped me. Therapists create safe space to talk about the deepest and secret thoughts. Of course, you have to pay them to keep those secrets. I feel that society needs to be educated, and they need to normalize the idea of seeking support from the therapist if somebody is suffering from the mental illness. Even if they are not, then also they can seek the help of the mental therapist. We need to have more open discussions, not only with the experts, but also with the public on this subject, which in turn helps to create an inclusive environment for the people suffering with mental illness. An inclusive environment is one where everyone feels accepted, valued, and supported regardless of their mental health status. Creating an inclusive environment for people with anxiety also requires breaking down the stigma and promoting understanding, thereby creating a world where everyone can thrive. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Wow, Vijaya, that was such a fabulous speech. And now, let me introduce you to the evaluator of the second speech. Am I audible? And now let me introduce you to the evaluator of our second speech. He is from the Pink City, Jaipur, and currently living in Hyderabad. He works as a business analyst in a startup. His hobbies include reading, writing, watching movies, dancing, and exploring new places. Toastmaster Ayush, can you please read out the project objectives of your target speaker, please?
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. My target speaker is Toastmaster Utkarsha. She is attempting the project Understanding Your Leadership Style from Level 2 of Pathway Leadership Development. The purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership styles and the member can choose to either speak about her leadership style or leadership styles in general. So I will be back again with my evaluation. All the best, Toastmaster Utkarsha. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ayush. And now, the second speaker of the day. She is a graduate in aircraft maintenance, resides in Amravati, Maharashtra, and enjoys traveling, reading, and cooking, and our at arms at Gabbys, Toastmaster Utkarsha. Please talk. Toastmaster Utkarsha, please talk.
Thank you, Neha. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. Can you confirm if you can see the timer?
Yes. As we grow old, stress becomes a part and parcel of our life. And we have got various reasons and various ways to deal with stress. So I'm going to ask you, which is your way to deal with stress? Toastmaster Sayyed, would you like to share? So Toastmaster Nancy?
Well, I just like to close my eyes if it's immediate. I try to breathe more deep breaths, or you can say box breathing. That's what I try. And then prefer to sleep if I can, though it's difficult. But yeah, that's my go-to method of dealing with stress.
Okay.
If that answers your question.
Yes, definitely. So once my mother receives a call from our doctor, and she gave a sweet news to my mother that your daughter has been diagnosed with a diabetes. And now you need to take care of her. You need to take care of her diet and physical well-being. So from that day, my rigorous diet and exercises started. But a couple of months back, when I was dancing at my mother's retirement party, I collapsed. And I have been hospitalized for a few days. And now the doctor came. So along with my diabetic issues, he gave the another reason. And that was stress. Yes, stress. So majorly, there are two types of stress. The one is the acute stress. So acute stress is a short-lived stress. So the stress you feel before giving your exam or delivering a speech or expressing your vivid affection to your crushes. And then there is another type of stress, that is chronic stress. It is a long-lasting stress. Suppose you have a fear of height or water or darkness or any illness. So researchers have shown that a small amount of stress is actually beneficial for an individual to perform better and to achieve certain goals. But when the consistent, long-lasting, and when the consistent, untreated, and unrecognized stress will lead to anxiety and other mental illness. So when somebody gets hurt or when your wounds are visible, that time you gain a lot of sympathies. But when it comes to mental health, there is always a silence. So suppose in case, if you want to open up, there are usually you'll hear these responses. Shh, these things doesn't exist. No, mental illness is for the people who are weak, right? So according to the research, 56 million of people suffer from mental illness. 1 out of 10 people openly speak about it. And talking at a national level, the WHO confirmed that economic loss from between 2012 to 2030, it will be $1 trillion. That's huge. So 10 lakh students appear for a particular exam. How many get selected? 10,000. And what about the rest? I'm sure all the people appearing for the exam had a plan for their success. But what about the plan of the failure? Nobody had it, or a very few had. Why? Because nobody thought or nobody cared. I tell you this murder rate of India, that is 2.2%. Yes, it is 2.2%. But anybody knows, any guesses what is the suicide rate of India? That is 11.3%. And it's not the same case in India. It's the various countries have the same issues like USA, Europe, and Japan, but they have a national policies for that, unlike India. But every silver cloud, every cloud has a silver lining. Now, the consultation in India has consultation rate has been increased in India to 44%. And governments has also taken initiatives by launching the helpline numbers 24/7, that is 1800-599-0019. And then there is a Telemanas app. So now mental health is not a taboo anymore. But it starts with you. It starts with the recognition of that. You need to acknowledge it. You need to take that step. If not, your friends, family, but professions. Take a walk. I know it's a competitive word, but sometimes please pause, take a walk, eat healthy, exercise a bit, spend some time with your loved ones and also with nature. And most importantly, love yourself and have faith in yourself. So I remember one of the incident that happened recently. I went for an interview, and for that interview, I prepared days and night for that. And I was scared and confident at the same time that I will crack it. But unfortunately, I couldn't. So on that day, on the day of the interview, I received a text message from my brother. I quote, "Utkarsha, this is not the last opportunity you have. I know you prepared for this so much, but if you couldn't crack it, there are abundance of opportunities waiting for you. But put yourself out there as it is your last opportunity." I did the same. So at the end, if you fail in that exam or a relationship or an interview, that's not the end. You have just failed in a particular thing, not in life. Because we continue, my friend. Thank you.
That was an amazing speech, Utkarsha. Thank you for sharing your story of stress and emphasizing on the importance of stress management and taking professional help. I sure attend a Toastmasters session to get rid of all my stress. That's for sure. And now, moving on, can I request the Zoom master to please launch the polls? Meanwhile, let's again spin the wheel of confession. And now, anyone who wants to volunteer, or should I pick from the people who aren't on camera? Any volunteers? Okay, Toastmaster Preeti, can you please? Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Yes. So I will spin the wheel of confession for you. And we'd like to hear some of your stories. All right. If you had a time machine, what romantic warning would you give your younger self? If you had a time machine, what romantic warning would you give your younger self?
I wish I had a time machine. I learned it quite late, but for sure I would have given, I will not say I would have told my younger self. I keep telling my younger self that I wish you learned on time to take care of yourself. I wish you took time to prioritize yourself. I wish you took time to listen to your heart. I wish you have taken time to put your foot down. I wish you have taken time to just say no, a big no. I wish you have taken time to get ready a bit more, to smile a bit more, seeing yourself in the camera, in the mirror, and just appreciate yourself and not waiting someone else to appreciate or validate or give love to yourself. I wish she had done all these things. She would have never ever suffered with imposter syndrome, never ever begged for love or appreciation. So I definitely would like to sit with her one day and see, hello, darling. And you know, my younger self, her name is Bubble. She was bursting with, the bubbles, they burst. She was bursting with joy, but she was bursting with tears also most of the times. So I'll sit with her and say, hey, Bubble, you know, I love you. I love you, and that means the most. Nothing else means. Nothing else. Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Neha.
Oh my God, that was a very heart-touching confession, I must say, Toastmaster Preeti, and thank you so much for sharing that. Now, another confession. Time for one more confession. I can see Toastmaster Shrishti smiling. Would you like to take up one?
Yeah, sure, Toastmaster Neha.
All right, let me spin the wheel for you. Let's go. Oh, the same one. Wow. Go for it.
Yeah, actually, when Toastmaster Preeti was sharing her story, I had the same thought. What would I say to my younger self if I had that opportunity? So, yeah, and the thought which came to my mind was if I had this opportunity, I would go back to my teens and to my teenage self and explain to her that love is actually a lot overhyped than it is. The way it is portrayed throughout our cinemas, in all our surroundings, through movies, books, it's always shown as the one thing and the only thing which matters. But it's kind of an illusion, because as we grow up, we realize that getting love from others, even more important than that, is feeling love from within, loving yourself, as Toastmaster Preeti was pointing out. And at the same time, it's not the only thing which matters. There are so many other things in life. I wish like our culture would focus a little more attention on that aspect, especially Bollywood. I don't know, I have a thing against Bollywood movies because they always tiptoe around that same concept of boy falling in love with a girl, and it just narrows our mind so much. But there are so many other forms of love which exist. So yeah, that would be something which I'll tell my younger self, that be open-minded, be open to love, but all the other forms of love.
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Shrishti. Now let's all be open-minded and be open for some evaluations. Now let's move on to the next. Let's call upon the evaluators of the speech one, Toastmaster Shrishti again, to evaluate the speech of Toastmaster Vijay Lakshmi.
Yeah. So Toastmaster Vijaya, first of all, a very big congratulations on having the courage to speak on such a sensitive and personal topic. But I would say that you had a lot of courage today, and it was coming up in your speech. Your confidence was unmatched today. It was through your voice, through your gestures, everything was amazing. So for your evaluation today, I'll be basically dividing my evaluation into three main sections. One, what you did amazingly well. What would be some of the improvement areas? And then I'll conclude. So starting with what I really liked about your speech was your introduction. So with those rhetorical questions, you actually grabbed not just mine, but everyone else's attention. And we were all hooked from right that moment to your speech on what is coming next. And not only that, through your personalized story, you kept us engaged throughout your speech. And finally, you ended with a very strong message to normalize mental health and to be more inclusive. So overall, it was a very gripping speech. Very good job done there. As I mentioned before, your confidence was simply amazing. You were speaking as if like you had lived it and you have actually lived that story, but everything was coming from your heart. And that was a very strong point of your speech. And third, and the thing which I loved the most were your hand gestures. They were like throughout the speech, with every part of the speech, every little emotion, you were portraying it through your hand gestures. And it also helped you meet your project objective, which was to display or to use vocal variety and body language. So on that front, it was a very good job done. For some areas of improvement, I think one thing I felt, Vijaya, on your speech structure, I felt like you had a lot of content to cover. You had a call of action, you had a personal story. But what would have helped us grasp it in a better way if you would have divided the content in a more structured way, where you start with the introduction, then you maybe explain your story, how you had overcome it, and then come up with a message. So that structure or flow was something which I felt was missing. And secondly, on voice modulation, I felt there were some areas where you could have, yes, you were very confident, the voice, the loudness, everything was there. But maybe to add some emotions to the speech, it would help take your speech to the next level. To give an example, like when you said you loved your emotions, sometimes you loved your emotions, but you loved yourself, but sometimes you had difficulty getting out of bed. So what you could have done is, sometimes I just loved myself, but sometimes I felt difficulty getting out of bed. So when you have that coming out through your voice, it also helps connect with the audience. Overall, a very good speech, gestures amazing, few improvement areas, voice modulation and the structure, and your speech would be would be amazing. So looking forward to more of your speeches. All the very best.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shrishti, for that insightful evaluation. Now I'd like to call upon the evaluator of the second speaker, Toastmaster Ayush, to please evaluate Toastmaster Utkarsha's speech.
Thank you, dear Modi. First of all, congratulations, Toastmaster Utkarsha, for completing your project. And kudos to you for coming up and speaking on such a sensitive topic. It is not easy to come and speak out these things, but what you did took a lot of strength and courage. So congrats for that. Now, coming to the evaluation for the speech. You started with a story which connected everyone and got everyone's attention. The one thing which I liked the most about the speech was that the story, the phases of the story and the speech was connected. Like first you told her what the problem was, then you connected it directly with the concept, like the stress levels are going on, how the problem is multiplying in India, and for that you provided good data to support what you were speaking, that the stress, the suicide rates are going on, and you also provide solution what the government is doing with solutions. So you kept the connection going throughout the story and provided with them with genuine data. So that was pretty well done, and that kept the structure of the speech in that intact. Yes, there was a little bit hiccup between the speech, but you recovered well after that and kept going, which in the end did not let that small part where you forgot something impact the affect the impact of your speech. So that was again done very well. Third thing, you ended with a conclusion and a message that the failures and Failures come and go, but that does not mean that you are a failure or you are not going to succeed. Now, coming to a couple of recommendations, you asked for questions at the start, so that was a pretty good thing. But the only thing there was that after getting the answer, you did not uh, connect that with what you were going to speak. So I would say give a little bit feedback or speak a little bit with the speaker who gives the answer, so that they think that yes, you are actually listening and you have actually listened. Otherwise it would feel that you are just you ask the question for the sake of it and just moved on. So that was one aspect, and the other thing was the conclusion was a bit small as comparison to the speech. I think you started another story at after seeing the yellow card, but it is better if you start the conclusion at yellow, so that you have 1.5 minutes to create an impact within the speech. So that was all from my side. It was a great speech. You uh, took up a topic which is not very common to take up. You delivered it pretty well, but just I think include a little bit more of conclusion, and it will take the speech to better levels. Uh, Thank you, and back to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ayush, for that well-detailed evaluation. And now, since we are running a little behind on schedule, I would like to hand over the stage to our GE Toastmaster Shashank for the evaluation section. Of course, before that, Zoom Master, can you please launch the polls? Over to you, Toastmaster Shashank.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Amor, amor, and amore. A wonderful theme to start the Valentine's week. One thing I liked about this, or the main thing I liked about this particular week's meeting is that even though it's Valentine's week, you were not too cliche and called it Valentine's or love, or you brought in some innovation there, which hooked on to our attention. Now, the first thing I did was check what is amor, amor, and amore, right? And the agenda also came with a lovely introduction of the theme and what we felt about the theme and something about the theme. It says, the love is something that I don't know. You can express with words, simple, like my love for you. You need more than a few words. And as soon as I read this, I went to my flashback mode. Again, it was just after my entrance exam. So if I have to connect, because I stopped in midway through. So I told my friend, eventually, turns out of 105 students in the class, only 5 people cleared, including me and my friend. So sometimes, just as the speakers mentioned today, don't stress too much, have time for yourself, have the confidence in yourself, because getting stressed or stressing more on something will not make it any better. After I finished my foundation entrance exam, when I was in my inter, the next level of CA exam, coincidentally, a girl spoke to me on the Valentine's Day, which is 14th. And turns out later that she was impressed and she had something for me, but she didn't express it. And it was already in the evening of 14th, so it was too late for her to tell anything. What she did cunningly was, we went out a couple of times. We were talking to each other over phone, texting each other. On the 1st of April, after say 2 months, she confessed. There is no point in holding it inside you, right? You should express, just put it out, tell it out. And she told on the 1st of April, Shashank, I know it's been only 2 months. I think we can take it to the next level. I'm expressing my feeling for you. And you know what happens next? All the, poems came out. She proposed to me. Then I started thinking, is this a very good date for someone to propose? And then I thought, okay, I think no. I somehow politely and sweetly rejected it. And then she told me, haha, April Fools. And then I realized how cunning this lady was, because if I told yes, she was happy. If I told no, then she had April Fool's Day as a reason to cover it up. But again, she chose a wrong day, but any other day, probably I would have fallen for the trap. So just express it out, show your love, spread love. So coming to the surgeon at arms for this evening, Toastmaster Utkarsha, who had to don 2 hats today, one as surgeon at arms and one as a speaker. Now, what I felt was, because she was giving a speech today, she was a little scared. We could make it out. And probably the preparation was more towards the speeches than the essays role, because I could sense that even though she had very good points pertaining to the 3 rules and how you follow rules, even though Toastmasters doesn't specifically talk about them and how you can try to avoid using them, very well put out. Kudos to that. But it was apparent that she was not very well prepared, because of, we could see her topic prepared speech was not a funny one, it was an emotional one as well. So probably she had the emotions build up from the beginning of the session itself. But all the rules laid out very well. Introductions, I mean, the great start to a meeting, even though I missed the first 10 seconds because I was a little late to join the meeting. So good big round of applause to Toastmaster Utkarsha for starting the meeting on time. Even though that means that the G was missing, you still started the meeting on time, and that's the best thing that could happen to a surgeon at arms. Start the meeting irrespective of how many people are there. Even though it's only you and someone else, you start the meeting and then continue the meeting. So a big round of applause to Toastmaster Utkarsha for starting the meeting on a good note with energetic note. Please give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Utkarsha. Next, we had the presiding officer for the day, DTM Nancy Goel. Now, she claims that she was the presiding officer after a very big gap, after a long time, but it did not appear that she was rusty or she didn't don this role for so many weeks. It was a job professionally done, a very well start. Again, you started off on the right note, welcomed everyone, and then called the meeting to order, had your bit about the theme, and then hand it over back to the TM Modi. A very well job done. I'll reserve my comments on that. But one small suggestion I have is, you were too sweet as the PO today, right? It's a good thing to have. You're too sweet. I only suggest that you be a little more authoritative when you are don the role of a presiding officer, at least in terms of voice and energy you bring in. That is a small suggestion from my end, but for a job very well done. Big round of applause to the presiding officer for the day, DTM Nancy Goel. Next, we have the Toastmaster of the day. I will reserve my comments for the Toastmaster of the day for the end of the meeting. I'll talk about you towards the end. We had prepared speeches today, and wow, what a session we had when it comes to prepared speeches. Now, wherever I go, because I go to various other clubs as well, mostly we come across some funny stories or something with humor or something with motivational. Sometimes too much humor or motivational will get too monotonous as well. And sometimes the laughter will not make us laugh. The jokes will not make us laugh because sometimes too much is too bad. But what a session we had. We had 2 emotionally gripping and connecting stories, and we could relate to them on a personal level as well. So big round of applause to both the speakers. Coming to the evaluations of the speakers. Now, even though as a GE, I will not be evaluating the speakers, it's my job to evaluate the evaluators. So evaluator 1. Again, all the elements of a proper evaluation, I think, was very well covered in your evaluation. You started off with some positives. You had some suggestions as well. Not so good ones, as in not so positive ones. So positives, then suggestions, and then you ended your evaluation by not ending on a negative note, but also talking about the positives, because it's always good to end on a positive note. So a job very well done. You also, the other thing I liked is you not only told your suggestions, you also demonstrated them. Instead of saying you could have been a little loud, you showed how you can be loud. You demonstrated it. So that is how a good evaluation is done. So nothing very specific pertinent to your evaluation, nothing specific, no other big suggestions from my end, but a job very well done. Coming to the speaker, again, one small suggestion to the speaker. I think when you started about clapping your hands, you had 3 points and then you had it one after the other. You could have even non-verbally, you could have interacted with the audience by saying something, clap your hands. Give a break, let them clap. And then you start once again. So even though by not making them speak, you are actually interacting with them. But that seemed a little hurried, and you could pause. You could use pauses because pause is a very effective way of communication as well. So you could pause more when you're giving a speech so that we could understand what you were trying. You could digest more than understanding what you're trying to say. But the best thing I liked about you is you stood and spoke, which showed your hand gestures, your emotions, your body language. You could make out very well. So for a job very well done, can we please have a big round of applause to both the speaker and the evaluator? Job very well done. Thank you very much. Next, the evaluator of speaker 2. I think a very job very well done. Again, all the elements of a proper evaluation was considered in your evaluation. You had positives to begin with, then some recommendations, and then proper conclusions. But one issue I had when you read out the project guidelines was that you were too fast at times, which is the problem even I have, especially when it comes to reading out some words. For example, I am still confused if you said leadership styles or relationship styles. So when you're reading out a project, we expect what the speaker is going to do or what the speaker is talking about. So there we were a bit confused as to what exactly was the word used. So at least when it comes to reading out the project guidelines, you could be a little clear and a little slow so that all of us know what's coming up next. Other than that, again, very well done. You had proper, you summarized the entire speech as well, along with positives and negatives. Moving on to the speaker 2, Utkarsha. Again, this point was covered by the evaluator also, that you started off with a question. But I have one issue there. You started off by saying, I'm going to ask you a question. Instead of giving them a heads up, you can actually directly start with that question. It makes it much effective. Instead of saying, I'm going to ask you a question and then asking a question, you could directly ask, how many of you do this, or how many of you do that, or what do you think this is? So that creates a very good note to your speech. So again, for a job very well done, can we have a big round of applause to both the speakers and speaker 2 and evaluator 2? Indeed, it was a very powerful and informative prepared speech segment. This compensates for the lack of, for not having a table topic section, but we had a great prepared speech section. Job very well done. And then moving on to the tag report for today. Again, we have a power pack tag team with me. I have a very power pack tag team with me. So let me begin with the timers report. So can I request DTM Saurav to please submit his report, timers report?
Yeah. So overall, we are almost 10 minutes behind schedule. But the individual speakers and evaluators are all on time. So speaker 1 took 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Speaker 2, Toastmaster Utkarsha, took 7 minutes, 23 seconds. Evaluator 1, Shrishti Kedia, she took 3 minutes, 20 seconds. And evaluator 2, Toastmaster Ayush Goel, he took 2 minutes, 51 seconds. So all speakers and evaluators are on time. Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Saurav. Next, for the R counters report, can I request Toastmaster Shilpa? Toastmaster Shilpa, if you can come on screen and share your R counters report.
Shilpa dropped off in between. Let me quickly check if she's back again.
Okay, in the meantime, we can have the grammarians report by Toastmaster Govardhan.
So thanks, Toastmaster Shashank. I'll just share my screen. Okay, so usage of the word in word of the day, basically. Toastmasters basically use the word of the day once. Then good usages in a meeting. Be kind to everyone, cosmic lifestyle, fabulous, mental gym, and powerful. Those were a couple of good usages in the meeting. Coming to Anapura, there was one used by Toastmaster Vijaya. Clap your hands if you ever had to deal with claustrophobia, mental health, and anxiety. There was a one proverb that was used by Toastmaster Utkarsh. Every cloud has a silver lining. Then some of the recommendations are instead of using some areas, few areas might be a good usage. Instead of lot of sympathy, covered sympathy would be a better usage. That's my report, Toastmaster Shashank.
Thank you, Toastmaster Govardhan. Do we have Shilpa back?
Shilpa is not able to join due to internet connectivity. I'll rather read her report. She shared her report with me.
Sure.
Okay. All right, you can hand it over to.
So can you please request Toastmaster Nancy to don the hat of the R counter in Shilpa's absence and please read out the report.
Right. Thank you, Toastmaster Shashank. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with Utkarsha as SA. That's what I understand. Yes, she had 2 hours in total. Then I had 1 hour, 1 well. Okay, I need to work on well. Couple of other things I need to make note of. I'm sure you all are making note of your hours and overs. Even if I'm reading it out, it's not making any sense. But yes, couple of repetitive words we had today was that, common or come on, let's get on. Shashank had repetitive word very, very something that we most often use and we can always replace it with the better words. Instead of saying very nice, we can say awesome. In case of whenever you are stuck with very, try to replace it with a better word. There is a website called, I'll check that website and share with you all because this was really helpful when I started looking for this repetitive word. Okay, next we have as a grammarian. That was repeated by Govardhan. As a grammarian, I'll do this. As a grammarian, I'll do that. This is a common thing that he can, that's a simple thing he can work on. Next, we have you need to, when on the go, or the is a repetitive word. These are a couple of things that we need to work on when it comes to our counters report. On top of that, I'll share one of my observations. Pauses is what I felt we really need to work on. When we are speaking fast or whenever we are prepared with our speeches, that's when we forget to take appropriate pauses. Whenever we are asking question, taking a pause post the question so that audience can respond, or even for that matter, you can let others absorb whatever you are saying. I've seen this once in Utkarsha's speech when she shared a data about suicidal rates as well as murder rates, and she took a pause after she shared that data. That was quite powerful. When she said, you know what's the suicidal rate in India? It's 11%. And this is what I still remember because the pauses made it look so powerful. So that's my takeaway on our counters report. With this, I hand it over to our Toastmaster, General Evaluator Toastmaster Shashank.
Thank you, DTM Nancy, for filling in as the R counter as well. So evaluating the tag team is also part of the general evaluator's role. So as a timer, we had DTM Saurav. Now, how can I evaluate someone, a distinguished Toastmaster with experience, more experience, much, say he has seen the world, I can say. But having said that, instead of, pushing him on the pedestal a little too much, I think I had one issue that because he is used to taking up roles and as the GE or as a TMOD or as presiding officer in many places, he also donned the hat of the GE for some time today. Because when he announced his timers report, or when he was introducing the timers job, he said, as the GE, I'll be timing the report. So for 5 seconds, he donned the hat of GE, but again, I'll ignore that as a slip of a tongue. But again, a very good point, which, okay, I use the word very, a good point which Saurav Datta had, which is very important in Toastmasters, is talking about the grace period. Because not many people know about the grace period or care about the grace period. The fact that we have 30 seconds before and after the speeches and specifically announcing it was the job well done by DTM Saurav. And for a crisp and clean report, please give it up for DTM Saurav as the timer for today. Next, we had the grammarian, Govardhan. I think the grammarian's report was very well presented. Also talking about the word of the day and good usages, not so good usages. But the only issue I have with the grammarian's report today was it was not very clear, both in terms of audio as well as the presentation. Because when it comes to the audio, you were probably busy outside traveling, you could not hear your report clearly. You could vaguely understand what you're trying to say. But if we had to focus on the PPT to cover up for the lack of audio, again, the PPT was a little zooming out, in and out, a little too often, so we could not even focus there. But we got the gist towards the end of the day. But a job well done again. Can we have it for the grammarian for today, TTM Govardhan, for doing a good job as the grammarian, Next, we had DTM Nancy covering in for Shilpa. So I'll reserve my comments on the accounters report because it was prepared by someone in one essence and read out by DTM Nancy. But I also appreciate the fact that Nancy donned the hat of the accounter and also gave it from her end as well. Instead of simply reading from a report, she also focused on one element about the pause, which I also spoke about during my evaluation. Pause is a very good thing to use, not only while giving a speech, but while cracking a joke or wherever you use. Proper pauses can change the complexion of the sentence itself. So for a job very well done by the tag team, can we have a big round of applause to all the 3+1 tag team players for today? Now, saving the best for the last, we have the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Neha Jain. Now, this is my first meeting here at the Gabbys. But from what I have heard is that you focus more on quality than the quantity. I hope all of you would agree with me. So it's not about the quantity, but the quality matters here. And at Gabbys, if today's meeting was a delicious cake, then Toastmaster Neha was the icing on the cake today. So she had all the elements of a good Toastmaster of the day. She welcomed everyone. She was interactive. To talk more about her positives, she had very good introductions for all the speakers and the evaluators as well, for all the role takers basically. She was very interactive. She had the wheel spin game, which had a bit of humor as well, something different than having a normal speech, having more interactions with the crowd. But two suggestions from my end. Other than these two, it was a fantabulous job done as the Toastmaster of the day. Two small suggestions from my end. Again, these are my personal suggestions. One is when you finish when a speaker finishes his speech, and when you move on to the second speaker, when you when you introduce the evaluator. So basically, between two speeches, when you're about to evaluate someone or when you're about to introduce someone, I think a small connect between the previous speaker and the next speaker would have been better. Right? So that flow would be much better. There would be good coherence there, linking the immediate previous speaker's speech and having some small reference on spot about the next evaluator. The link would be much better. Other than that, during your wheel spin game, you focused on others who could actually come and give it a try, give it a shot. You also focused on people who switched off the camera. Job well done. But because we did not have a table topic session today, it would have been better if you had focused on the non-role takers. That you had an evaluator come and speak, but again, if you had given preference to the non-role takers, probably there were others. I can still see Dr. Mehboob Pasha here. I saw a few more people on screen. If you would have just called them on and asked them to have a take, it would have been a mini table session in itself. And instead of having long speeches during the long slots assigned to the guest speakers or for the speakers to take part in this game, you could have had short sessions so that you could have covered more people during your game. Other than that, a job very well done. Hats off to you for having donned this role of TMOD and having had the role very seamlessly. A very good job done. Can we please have a very big round of applause to Toastmaster Neha Jain. I request you to unmute and clap your hands for all the role takers once for a job very well done today. Okay, before I hand it back, I know we are behind schedule. It was my first meeting at the Gabbys, and even though I had some technical difficulties in joining and sometime in between the TMOD's take as well, it was a wonderful meeting. I can emphasize the fact that you focus more on quality than quantity. It was a professionally conducted meeting, and I thank the committee and DTM Nancy in particular for inviting me to be part of your meeting today. Thank you very much. I now hand it back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Toastmaster Shashank Bhatt and his team for that detailed evaluation. Can we have the polls? Yeah, we already have. Thank you, Zoom Master. All right, now, without any further ado, I know we are running just 6 minutes back on schedule. Over to you, DTM Saurav Datta, for the Moments of Truth session.
So
before that, I'd like to call upon the presiding officer for the closing remarks and also to announce the results of the poll.
Thank you, Toastmaster Neha. DTM Saurav, do we have the results ready?
One more poll is left. 1 second. I'll just close this and I'll launch one more poll.
All right. In the meanwhile, I would like to take feedback from our guests here. We had Toastmaster Pratyush. We have Sanjay Jain. Sanjay, I could welcome you in the beginning. Welcome to the Gabbys. I hope you had a good time today. Would you like to share your feedback for today's meeting?
Yeah, myself, Sanjay. I had attended earlier also, and this time also I've seen a very good section. I liked the way you conducted the section, and all the roles were very well organized, and the general evaluator was very well given his evaluation and things like that. A great place to learn new things, and thank you very much for inviting
Thank you
me.
so much, Sanjay. May I know if you're a Toastmaster or a guest?
Yeah, I am a Toastmaster at Daffodil's Toastmaster. I'm a guest here. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for your feedback. We also have Dr. Mehboob Pasha. Good to see you on camera, sir. It's always a pleasure to see you in our meetings. Any feedback from your end?
Thank you very much. So the thing is about Gabbys means one thing come to my mind is they are very professional, and Saurav Datta's name come to my mind because they are very professional, very precise, very orderly. They conduct the meetings. So today the best thing about all speeches were, I enjoyed the speeches. I joined late. The best general evaluators today, general evaluator was too amazing. So how detailed was in his report, how precise he was. First time I am the member of Speakers and Toastmaster. So I've been attending many clubs to improve myself. So this is the first time I have heard a general evaluator so much detailed and precise, and his report was very superb. Thanks for giving me a chance to speak, ma'am. Love to be here always, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mehboob Pasha, for your candid and valuable feedback. Toastmaster Pratyush, we would love to hear from you as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Neha. So we always like my second session with at Gabbys. Last session by Chitrakshi. What was my first one, and I totally enjoyed last session, and I totally enjoyed this one also. Both the TMODs last time and this time they drive the session show so well. Even you as the host. Definitely, I love my time here. My club is Kurdish Toastmasters Club, and it's kind of rather new. So I'm trying to learn from all the fellow clubs. I'm asking my club members also to join and learn from you all. And definitely, I am enjoying it. I mostly, if I'm free on Saturday, I'll definitely make it a point to attend this session. Thank you for conducting such a good session.
That's definitely an honor for us to have you here. Thank you so much for your feedback once again. Let's move on to the poll results. I know we all are waiting for the poll results. Let me announce. I'll start with, what should I start with? Okay. Let's start with auxiliary role takers. We had, instead of taggle team, we had tag team today. Any guesses for the tag team?
Sauradatta.
Okay, that's how we get to know that you voted for DTM Saurav. But you are correct. Distinguished Toastmaster Saurav, congratulations on winning the best tag team member today. Best on tag team. Moving on to the next poll result. Meeting role takers. We had our T-Mod, we had G, we didn't have TTM. And best role taker for today's meeting was none other than our Toastmaster of the day, who made us fall in love with ourselves, in love with Valentine's Day and all those gifts that are pending since 2011. Congratulations, Toastmaster Neha. And thank you, Toastmaster Shashank, for joining the meeting today. Your report was fabulous. I'm sure we had a lot to learn from you. Next, we have speech evaluations. Best evaluator for today's meeting. Any guesses? Whosoever is speaking, you're speaking on mute. I'll break the silence, and our best evaluator for today's meeting is Toastmaster Srishti. Toastmaster Srishti, thank you so much for joining this meeting after so long, yet winning best evaluator in today's meeting. Toastmaster Ayush, your evaluation was also bang on. Kudos to both of you. And the last poll to be announced. Best prepared speeches. Once again, any guesses?
Toastmaster Vijaya.
Toastmaster Vijaya, any more guesses?
Toastmaster Utkarsha.
Toastmaster Utkarsha, any more guesses? The way we have a tie right now, same way we have 8 votes to each. We have a tie between both the prepared speakers. Both of them touched upon a taboo topic called mental illness and got equal number of votes today. Kudos to both the speakers and special congratulations. With this, I call this meeting to adjourn and hand it over to distinguished Toastmaster Saurav Datta to take it forward for moments of truth. Our guests are also allowed to stay in the second part of the meeting. It's purely optional. Members, please stay back. It's really important. Over to you, DTM Saurav.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Nancy Goyal. So we will start the moments of truth. And as Nancy mentioned at the Gabbys, we do welcome the guests to stay back during the moments of truth. We want to include the guests also and take their feedback as well. So the way we'll do it is that we have got close to around 21 members. I'm hoping that all of you would want to stay back for the moments of truth. So in that case, excluding me and Nancy, the rest of the people can participate. So the trio typically does not participate in the moment of truth because this is more of feedback on how we have been serving the club in the leadership roles. So that's why, except for the trio, we will be taking notes. So since we have only 21 people, we are not going to break out into rooms. We will have an open discussion. What we have done is that we have taken some feedback already offline over a poll from all of you, and I will be presenting that to you now. So we'll start with that, and then we will discuss on each of this. So what typically happens in a moment of truth is that there are various there are 6 parameters on which we ask the club members and guests. Yeah, Nancy.
Please stop the live streaming. We'll record this session, but we don't want this on Facebook.
1 second.
Thank you.
Done. Thank you for pointing out. Yeah. So let's go back to the slide. So we have 6 sections. First impressions, the kind of first impression that the club creates on everyone. Nancy, can you just lower your hand? The first impression is the kind of first impression that the club makes on everyone, the guests, particularly who are joining our club meeting. The second is membership orientation, where we try to understand that once you become a member after attending our meetings as guest, what is the kind of response that you're getting from the club on various parameters. The third is on the fellowship, the variety and communications, which basically means that what is the kind of bonding that we feel in the club. So, okay, fine, everything is picture perfect, everything is happening how it should happen. But do you feel belong to this place? Do you really feel that this Gabbys is the place where you that you feel belong to once you become a member? Is that sense of belongingness there in the club? Then comes the most important thing that we do as a Toastmaster club, which is this weekly meeting and the meetings that we do every Saturday, because the core of our existence is our meeting. If the meetings are not good, then nothing else will work out. Give me 1 second. I'm getting a call. 1 second, please. Hello. Hi. Sorry, I was getting a call. Yeah, so membership strength. The other one is membership strength. How are we doing in terms of membership strength? Whether we have enough number of members in the club, and most importantly, are those members participating? And finally, achievement and recognition. Are we recognizing the achievements that the members have in the members are getting the education awards, the contest winners, and all of that. So we will take a quick look in terms of how did we do on each of these parameters, and we'll stay on this slide. Each slide we will spend close to around 5 minutes. If any pointers you have the option of sharing it with us in person, in private chat, or you can unmute yourself, or you can put it on chat. Please be candid. There's nothing that we need to hide. There's nothing that we need to feel sorry about, because all of us are doing our best in terms of serving the club. So I'll tell you what the club feels overall. So guests greeted warmly to enter and introduced to officers and members. There is a majority of us feel that we are doing pretty good in that. Though we do have a couple of concerns that we could do probably better in this. Professionally arranged virtual meeting rooms, since we meet only virtually. Therefore, the meeting room has to be there. There's a short code that we have. So all of those things people are largely appreciating. Convenient to join virtual meetings. Again, an extension of this point. Guests invited to address the club. In every meeting, we give the guests an opportunity where we are trying to help them understand how, what brought them here, what are they looking for in the meeting. And guests are invited to join the club once the meeting is over. So anyone will take a quick couple of minutes if you have any pointers on any of these connected to the experiences that we are sharing as a first impression. Anything that you think that we are not doing and we can do better. Again, anyone can speak, new, old, first-time Toastmaster, veteran Toastmaster, non-Toastmaster, guest, non-Gabbys member, anyone. except for Nancy.
I would suggest you pick up people. For example, if it's a point related to guest, you can check up with the guest how we are doing, and that way maybe
Fine.
we will be able to get
Can
more
do that
information.
as well. Okay, so I think we have our guest Pratyush. I think Pratyush has joined us for quite a few meetings. I've seen him. Pratyush, anything that we can do better in terms of engaging the guest, which you feel that we are not up to the mark yet?
No, in my view, you are doing good in engaging the guests. So I don't have any suggestions for you. Sorry.
Okay.
Team Saurabh, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Do you have the same meeting link for all the weeks, or do you have a
We
different
have the
meeting?
same meeting link for all the weeks.
Okay, okay. And do you have a guest group?
We have a guest group as well,
where others can join and look at.
Yes, yes,
Okay, it would probably having a form when someone logs in as a guest to collect their data and adding them to the guest group. Probably will bring in the same guests once again. I don't know if it's there, but
that's a good idea. One thing that we do not do, Nancy, can you please take the notes? So one thing that we do not do, and thank you for bringing this up, Shashank, that we do not publicize the guest group WhatsApp link too much. And that is something that we should do. Thank you for, so we have got a WhatsApp group for guests. And what we'll do is we will also include that in our meeting posters from now on. Thank you, Shashank. That was a brilliant suggestion. I would request a VPPR to also take note that along with the this one, we'll add one line saying that if you are interested in becoming a guest, joining our meetings regularly or stay informed about what's happening, please join our guest group, and we'll put a short code for that as well. Thank you, Sashank. That was a very, very useful suggestion. Thank you. Anything else? Anyone on this particular point? Any of the members? Any hassles you face with the joining the online meeting? Sure, Pratyush, we'll do that. Nancy, can you just copy paste that if you have it?
The guest group link I've already done.
Okay, fine. So I take that as a no, and then move on to the next point for the interest of time. So the second one is about membership orientation. Are you benefiting from your Toastmasters membership? And most importantly, are you benefiting from your membership with the Gabbys? This one is coming a little slightly distorted. Let me put it on the actual Google form so that it's easier for you. I'm sorry, the responses came a little late. I didn't have the time to put all of this together in a neat manner. Okay, so here we go. Membership orientation. So the first point is that formal induction, including presentation of membership pin and manuals. Is it happening? Clearly, there is a lot of work that we can do here. So as we can see, there are almost, almost close to, so the majority is like 7. So out of the 16 responses, 9 people have felt that there is some area of work for us to do. Some felt that we are doing good, some felt that we are doing average, some felt that clearly this is an area of improvement. And I totally agree. I think in terms of formal induction, we are not doing a great job, and we have never done that at the Gabbys. We have talked about it multiple times, but it has never happened like that. And this is something that we really need to work on. Next come assignment of mentor. Yes, again, feedback taken. There has been some slips in between. Gabbys has always been known for having the best mentorship program that it could possibly have. And I will take accountability for that myself, that I have also in the past term not been able to keep the program running to the full potential. Now that we have got a new VP Education who's coming in, DTM Nancy, and I know the rigor with which she drives things. So I'm pretty sure this will fall in place. But yes, feedback taken. There are a few comments that we have already received about mentors not being assigned properly or in time. And this is something that we are taking very serious cognizance of. Point taken on this. Education program and system recognition system being discussed. So this is something that again, there is quite a few positives, but then we have got a sizable amount of people who feel that we can do a better job in this. And yes, again, I totally, on behalf of the executive committee, I accept that the education program and recognition system, we used to have regular discussions in the WhatsApp groups, and the WhatsApp group of late has been a little quiet. So one thing that we are going to do is make the WhatsApp group more active and have more, knowledge snippets shared there. We are a club primarily of professionals, predominantly professionals who are always busy during the course of the week. So getting this 2 hour of time commitment itself is a bit of a pressure on them. Asking for any additional time commitment could actually not work out in our favor. And that is something that we have tried in the past, does not really work out. So what we'll do is we'll instead have small nuggets of information shared on the WhatsApp group, make the WhatsApp group more active, so that the education is shared not in one piece during a separate meeting, but as small packets of information. Learning needs assist. In fact, we have got someone who's actually said that this is something that we definitely are not doing a good job. And then again, a majority felt that we have a lot of lagging going on here. So 4, 3, 7, and 1, 8. So almost 50% of the people feel that we are not in the top 2 boxes. Again, we are accepting this feedback as with all humility. And I know the reason for this. The reason for this is this ties back to the mentor assignment, right? So if you have a mentor assigned to you and your mentor are working closely, then this can be taken care of, which is not happening in our case. Speaking opportunity provided, let me quickly see what is the score that we have got here. So speaking opportunity, we have got largely this one, 5, and the final one was member involved in all aspects of the club activities. So there again, the score that we have received is large. It's pretty much distributed. Can you see my screen fully or no? Is my screen visible?
We can just see the form.
1 second.
And the responses were not
visible. Let me show the full screen. Now you can see it, right?
Yes.
So I have to toggle between the screens, as I said, that the responses came in a little late, so I could not put all of this together neatly in a few set of slides. I'll do that later. So this one, members' involvement in all activities of the club. This is something where definitely, again, some work needs to be done. And this is an area on which I would need your help if you can tell me if you have any suggestions. Otherwise, I'll take this back to the ExCom and take their inputs in terms of how can we get members involved in the club activities. I know where this concern is coming from. Again, this is primarily coming from the fact that Gabbys has largely been a club which has been ExCom driven. And we honestly still feel that we as a club, any Toastmaster club is as good as their ExCom is, because the leadership team does matter. Having said that, there is a scope of involvement of the team members. So any suggestions on this last point or any other points that we discussed just now on the orientation? Any of the members, particularly the members? Any of the new members, Chaitanya, or any of the charter members or season members like Lakshmi? Anything that you think that we were doing earlier, we are not doing now, or anything that we should be doing and we are not doing? Both of that will be important for us.
For me, like I don't have any extra points to add on to it. In my case, I received the proper guidance for everything when I joined, before I joined, by Toastmaster Aparna and Toastmaster Reena. And after that, from you also, DTM Saurav, we had a session where you explained the whole website and how everything is done. And there was an orientation program. So for me, everything went on well. So I don't have any points to add on to it.
Lakshmi, Preeti, people who have been with us for some time, anything that you think that we are not doing now, which we were doing earlier and what was working well, anything that you would want to add?
Hi, Saurav. This is Lakshmi here. I don't have much to add here because I've also been a little inactive. But one thing that I have noticed about the Gabbys is that we are to a certain extent member driven, because be it the newsletter or be it any other event that we conduct, the member involvements have always been there. So I'm not sure where, if there needs to be any further improvement on that. But one thing, again, as I said, my apologies. I've not been very active, but from a personal front, I'm not sure if the birthday wishes are still as regular as it used to be in the previous term. And my apologies here again if I have missed it, but just wanted to put that.
Again, a very good point, Lakshmi. Thank you. So birthday wishes are happening, but then we did have a few slips that we will fix it. One thing I also wanted everyone to know, in the Gabbys, we have a policy of not celebrating any days. So we don't celebrate Valentine's Day, we don't celebrate Women's Day, we don't celebrate Men's Day. Not any of the festivals like Diwali, Eid or Christmas, for the very simple reason that there's so much of diversity in the club. We do not want to miss out on anything. Something may be very important for you and not important for me. And just because I'm sitting in the XCOM, I decide to send out a Diwali greetings, but I am not sending out a greetings during Eid. That's extremely insensitive. And that's why what we have decided is no non-Toastmaster days and events will be celebrated except for birthdays. We will stick to that. Birthdays we have missed, and in fact I know that your birthday, Lakshmi, we had missed that, and we had done a belated birthday wishes, which is not acceptable, and that is something that we are now putting it back on track. So Utkarsha is taking due diligence of all the birthdays that's coming up, and she's doing a damn good job in terms of alerting us well in advance. So this is fixed now. Any other suggestions from anyone? Otherwise, we'll move on to the next slide.
Saurav, Nancy already mentioned about this. So we don't have mentors for the path breakers, right? I feel it's important to have mentors for path breakers as well.
Okay, I think this is a very, very important point. See, I'll tell you the reality, Dolly, that we do not have sufficient number of mentors. The rate at which we are growing and the number of mentors that we need, there is no parity. Now we can do an assignment of mentors just like that, right? But then the amount of effort that goes in the Gabbys for assigning mentors, that's a very serious business. And that's why you see sometimes the delay is happening, because it's not that no one is bothered about it. It's just that we are doing our level best to get you the best mentor possible, like based on your interest and all of that. So having said that, there is a shortage of mentors. Because there is a shortage of mentors, what we had decided is that for the path breakers, we will not have a mentor unless the path breaker specifically requests us, saying that I need a mentor, right? Then we will not deny a mentor. We will find a mentor for you from within the club, if not possible from outside the club. So if you have a requirement, if you're a path breaker and you still want a mentor, please drop in a message to Nancy and we will ensure you are having a mentor, no matter how many. So I'll also drop a message to Nancy asking.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Hi, Saurav. This is Ankit.
Yeah, Ankit.
Saurav, just wanted to check if there are any recorded sessions or a checklist, like what we should do once we join as a Toastmaster. Because, for example, I will give my case and nothing to point on anyone. I joined in December, and first time I got the membership link in Feb. So I was not aware what has to be done. I was joining these sessions and I was thinking about the different roles, but there was no reference book or guidance where I can go and check. Maybe I might have missed and there might be a lack from my side, but I just wanted to understand how this goes once we join as a Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Ankit, for bringing this up. First, let me clarify one thing. Your case and Ashwini's case is something that...
Right. I also had a same question to kind of add on because I think we both kind of face the same issue where, I was not aware of what is the next step, like what am I supposed to do next? So the same thing I was supposed to add. Ankit, thank you for adding it.
Good. So let me tell you something. So you did pay the membership in the month of December. But then after that, what we had a discussion internally is that between me and Reena at that point of time is that In January, you don't have any such meetings happening. We had 2 club contests. We had one another session. So, and one session got cancelled. So because of various reasons, we had decided that there is no point in having your membership activated from the month of January. It would be just a waste of your money. Instead, you can keep on attending the sessions. We will consider you as a member for all practical purposes, but we will not charge you for the month of January. So this is again something that I'll connect with you separately. So the membership for the month of January that we have collected, we will either reimburse you or we will adjust it in your next renewal cycle that for that particular month. So basically your membership starts from 1st of February for the simple reason that January there was not much meetings where you could have attended. There were 2 weeks had gone for contests. You remember, like 7th and 21st, and then 1 week was a festival week, 14th of January. So basically, it did not make us much sense. So that was one of the reasons. Having said that, this was never communicated to you. You never know this. Before today's discussion, you never had this clue that what's happening and why is your membership not being active. Am I right, Ankit and Ashwin?
Yes.
Right, yes.
And I think that is clearly the gap, the communication. Our intent was good, that why waste your money when you can't attend the meetings? But then that is something that should have been communicated to you. That's a miss on our part. Communication has been a challenge, and primarily because we suddenly, grew from 23 to 35 to 43, and we were not prepared for it. So the way we were handling the club is a 20-member club, but now we have to understand that we have to create better communication channels. And that's something that the trio is continuously deliberating on how to build it. The manual is not there in place, and that's something that we will do. I will take Dhwani's help and build a manual for the new member induction. So that will also be a part of the new member induction. That's an action item we'll work.
Thank you so much, Saurav. Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll get the full clarity after this. We'll ensure. I'll circle back with both of you individually. We'll move on to the next one. There is no more suggestions. And I really appreciate you guys being candid and asking these questions. Okay, this makes it so worth it. Okay, moving on to fellowship, variety, and communication. This is a feeling of belongingness. Are the guests greeted warmly and made welcome? We have got a very good score here, and I'm not surprised because I do see regular guests coming back, repeat visitors, which is very, very enjoyable. Dr. Mehboob Pasha, Pratyush, many I've seen, Anand, they join back regularly in our meeting. That shows that we are able to give them a feeling of warmth and welcomeness. Enjoyable and educational meetings planned. We have got 5, but more 4, and this is something that we will have to think of why is it not mostly 5, because I feel that as a club we take a lot of pride in the quality of our meetings. So probably there's some work that we need to do there. Regularly scheduled social events. We are not doing much. An open house is coming up next. So yes, we will see how we can do this. Members participate in area, district, and international events. This, I think we are doing quite a good amount of things right now. We regularly, there's not been a single contest, single event where we have not participated, and all the district events, all the division events. And as a division director, I'm saying this as well. So I think we are pretty much sorted there. Interclub events encouraged. Linkers meet used to happen a lot before. We have reduced that now because of various reasons, part of which is because the partner club is sometimes not able to provide us role takers. So, it becomes more of a hassle for us trying to get role takers from our club and then from the partner club. But we will try to find more clubs that we can do with. In fact, Shashank is here, and hybrid linkers meet may be something that I can discuss with Shashank, or Stancy can discuss with Shashank offline and see if we can do it with BTMC. That would be a great learning. BTMC is one of the best clubs that we have in this country, probably in the world. So a hybrid meeting with them would be a great learning for us. We'll see if we can do a hybrid linkers meet with them. And the club newsletter website published and updated regularly. Our newsletters are pretty much, we are on track on that. The next newsletter will be coming out in the month of March during so every milestone meeting, we have 2 milestone meetings in a year. Every milestone meeting, we release a newsletter. That's the way we work. We don't have a website, so we don't publish and update that. So that's not relevant for us. Any questions or any comments on this one? Overall, I have a question for the members, particularly the new members, and answer me honestly. Do you feel that you belong to this club? Ritik, Do you feel belong? Do you feel that this is home? Siddharth, new members particularly.
No, yes, Saurabh. So, talking about my take, I think the fact that I'm coming and joining every Saturday, whether I'm a role taker or not, right? So, that sense of belongingness is definitely there. And I think it grows over time, right? So, like when I'm getting assigned mentors, the way I'm getting more feedbacks and the way I see the progress happening, right? I think, I think at the end, that helps on becoming. And of course, there's a physical meetup part that is missing, but I think considering that it's a virtual or a hybrid setup, I think we are doing the best in terms of that. Of course, if there are a few more things that can happen, that is there. I did have a little bit of confusion in the beginning with respect to my mentor. Is it for if only for one speech, or is it for like that? But now that I'm progressing, I think whenever I reach out to have any doubts, I think I get all my doubts clear. So I'm pretty in a good shape now. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Vijaya, anyone, please, do you feel belong, particularly the new members? Because people have renewed 3-4 times. Obviously, they are either too rich or they're delusioned that they will otherwise do it if they don't feel belong. But people who have not renewed even once, the first renewal cycle coming up, do you have a sense of belongingness? Do you feel like we are family, we are home?
Yes, I feel very much included here because like though I have not given much of speeches, I've just given my icebreaker speech yet, and I have been involved in few of the roles in previous meetings. But still, by listening to other speakers and their evaluations, or in the senior members who are present at the club, I get to learn a lot from them, and that has quite helped me a lot, and I can feel the difference. And yes, so that's why I feel belong to it, and I don't feel the pressure that someone is bothering me to like do something or not. Everyone is very helpful, and like they support a lot. They're very supportive. So it's a nice culture here in this group.
Thank you. Vijaya, do you have anything to add? How can we improve in terms of belongingness? The sense of belongingness is very important for a community club, because corporate clubs are bound by the organization, right? So a Dell club is a Dell club, simple. But a community club, the sense of belongingness is what ties us together. So anything we can do better, Vijaya, to improve a sense of belongingness? You're on mute, Vijaya, if you're speaking.
Yeah, I feel very much at home whenever I attend the Gabbys, may it be in terms of the mentors who always encourage, or while we communicate with the other club members for any of the information. It's always so warm feeling. I feel very much at home. Adding to any improvements, I don't have much suggestion. Only one thing to make it feel more at home, or to come close together with the family club members. I can say like we can have the offline meeting somewhere once in a while, as I attended when I was joining. Maybe it will help us, like whoever are there in one city can meet up and have that more bonding. I wish we can do that more better.
That's a beautiful suggestion. In fact, let me tell you, we are planning something which is cluster hybrid meetings, right? The last week we had tried, so Nancy and I were there at Aparna's place, and the three of us logged in from one place. So people who are in the same city, we can, work out a cluster hybrid meeting. Like if there are 4 or 5 people in Pune or 4 or 5 people in Bombay, you can get in together, you can get together. A few people are together in, say, Delhi, you can work that out. So that's something. One thing that we have already started as a tradition is that all milestone meetings we celebrate as hybrid meetings. So this time also the milestone meeting is coming up on, Nancy knows the date, I think 18th of March or 25th
18th
of March.
March.
18 March. So 18 March will be a hybrid meeting. So everyone, please mark your calendar. Timing will always be the same. The Gabbys will always meet at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. So no matter, we have declined speakers like international, so speech contest winners and international presidents. We had to politely decline them because they couldn't make it at 10 a.m. and they wanted our meetings to happen at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. We are very clear about this. Our meetings will happen at 10 a.m. come what may. So the meeting will be on 10 a.m. on 18th of March, and it will be a hybrid meeting. So please mark it. Since request is coming up quite a few times, I'll also discuss with the ExCom if we can start doing at least one meeting every quarter as a hybrid meeting, and see how we can take it from there. Logistics is not a challenge. The only thing is that we need to get their act together. We'll work it out. Point taken. Anything else on this point, or we'll move on to the next one? We may overshoot by 10 minutes because I got the stage. I needed 1 hour, but then I got 30 minutes. So I'll just need maybe 40 minutes. Please bear with me. So moving on to the program planning and meeting organization. So, okay, this one is again, so the first one is program and agenda publicized in advance. Members know program responsibilities and are prepared to carry out all the assignments. Okay, let me see one by one. Program and agenda publicized in advance. So how are we doing on this? Yeah, so I think we are doing fine, and I'm not surprised. Our SAs are fantastic and they do a great job with this. The next one is members know program responsibility and are prepared to carry out all assignments. Basically no dropouts and those kind of things. And there's they willingly come forward and take roles. It does happen. Yes, sometimes the VP has to give a bit of a nudge, but that's common. But I would say that we take a lot of pride in being a club where no shows are so rare. In the last 2.5 years, I can actually count on my fingers and say how many people have not turned up for a meeting or have declined last minute. We strongly discourage that. And for reasons, and that's the reason that we are so strong in terms of our meeting quality. Next is all projects are pathways project. I'm a little confused because I've got a few people saying that all projects are not pathways projects, but that's not the case because all projects are pathways projects. I don't think that we have ever done projects which are outside of pathways, the Gabbys. Maybe this question, I'll have to explain this one. Meetings begin and end on time. I'm surprised with the results here because our meetings hardly end on time. We can do a better job there, but we are not. And creative themes, yes. I mean, today's meeting is a good example. And then most of our meetings have got a very creative theme. We have got some very strong teammates in our club. And that's why our meeting themes are really exciting. And positive and learning environment and supportive learning environment. That's also a plus. So overall, most of the program planning and meeting organization, it's a plus. Unless you have something to add, agree or disagree, I would skip and move to the next slide. If you have anything to add to this in terms of you don't agree and you want to make some point, we can only do that. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next slide. All good in this one. So this is the meeting planning. Let's move on to the next one, which is the membership strength. The club has 20 or more members. Yeah, we have got 43 members now. So we are good on that front. Members are retained. We do have a challenge with retention. Every year we have 25 to 30% churn, which is kind of expected for various reasons. I think that's an average across the Toastmasters fraternity. But then continuously the VP and the VPM will work together to ensure that this churn percentage is reduced, progressively. Promotion of club in the community or within its organization. Well, this is something that I take a lot of pride in, saying that the Gabbys does promote the meetings very aggressively, sometimes more aggressively than we can or we may. And that in fact just raises a few eyebrows here and there. We are very strong about promotions and we're very serious about promotions. So in case people don't know, we were voted as the best PR club in the entire District 92 last year because our promotions are so strong and so consistent. Club programs, varied and exciting. This is, I think people have been very generous because our programs have not been really varied except for a few milestone meetings. This is something where we do need to do some work. Toastmasters sponsoring new members recognized. Okay, so people who are introducing new members, are we recognizing them? Yes, we are. In the announcements, we are mentioning that this person was introduced by this person. And not only that, we give individual sponsor credits to those people who are introducing those people, the new members. Regular membership building program. This is something that we do in a slightly differently. We don't have a regular membership building program because for the simple reason our focus is more on retention rather than attraction of members. Because we are doing well in terms of new members joining. The club wants to spend more time and energy on retaining new members and ensuring that you are getting what you want from this club rather than trying to add more and more members. So are very strong. But the good thing is, even without such focused interventions, we still have got all the 3 membership building awards last year, right? So that's why we were also got the Super Club Award, where we got 15 members added in those 3 windows of Beat the Clock, Talk Up, and Smedley. This year already we have got Smedley, Talk Up also. We have got 2 members already, another 3 members I'm pretty sure we'll get before the end of March. We are going to do an open house on, I think next week, we are planning an open house or next to next week. But again, our focus will be on retaining members. So that's why we are not going to do, overboard in terms of doing membership drives, because I think if we need to now focus on ensuring that we don't have challenges with mentorship assignment, with you not knowing what to do next. That's something that we'll focus on. Anything you want to add on this? Are we all on the same lines in terms of thought? Do you agree that this is the right approach to take? More focus on retention than acquisition? Yes, no, maybe. I don't know what you're talking. Kuch to bolo. Nothing? Okay, let's move on.
So,
to the
Saurabh, one feedback I would like to give for Gabbys Club. So there is a lot of commitment from the role takers, and I have really enjoyed the level of commitment of evaluators, role takers, and this brings me back. This will always bring me back to Gabbys Club. So that is so retention is you are already doing the work, retention work, by motivating people by your commitment, the quality of the speeches people give here, and the quality of the evaluation people get from this club. So I just wanted to give this feedback to you.
Thank you so much, Ankit. And one of the things that we strongly believe at the Gabbys is that the core of our existence is our meeting. The core is our meetings. Everything else is noise. The contests, the elections, district officers, distinguished Toastmasters, DCP dashboard, distinguished club program, all of this is noise. They are accessories. They are just there to jazz your world up. But the core is this meeting. The 5 minutes of speech that you give here and the 3 minutes of evaluation that you do, that you get, and the 2 minutes of table topics that you are participating in, that is the core. And you know why we grew suddenly from 20 to 43? It's because we kept the core strong. We have never compromised on the quality of the meeting. People have come back and complained that why are you so hard when someone drops out of a meeting? Why such difficult messages? This is the reason we wanted to keep the core strong. Because, people think 3 times before coming and saying, I have a work, I will not be able to attend meeting. Never, never. If someone is dropping out of a Gabbys meeting last minute, it has to be a really big reason. And reasons have been that big. Someone falling sick, a death in the family. These are the reasons on which we can do nothing about, right? We have to be also sensitive and humane about it. But I don't feel like coming to a meeting. Saturday morning, I couldn't wake up. I had a Friday night hangover. No. That's not Gabbys. And that is the reason that we maintain the meeting quality so strongly, and that's what we'll continue to do. If that means that a few people we will lose along the way because they find us too disciplined, well, that's fine. I would rather have the club go strong rather than, having people playing to their whims and fancies. So moving on to the last slide, we are almost there. We are doing good. Thank you so much. Award applications. This is for achievement and recognitions. Award applications immediately submitted to World Headquarters. Again, you are being very generous, friends, because I don't think we have done a great job in that in the last 6 months, or at least in the last 2 months. I myself have been the reason in many cases. But now, again, as I said, we have a new VP and such an inspiring leader as in the VP role. So I'm pretty sure this is going to get sorted. So your award applications will be filed immediately. Once you file it, it will be approved. Progress charts displayed and maintained. So this is something that we have taken care of. If you notice the second page of the agenda, that does call out about people who are winning awards at the club. Member achievements formally recognized with ceremony. This is not being done, and this has never been done for the simple reason that we don't have much time in our meetings are so jam-packed finding time to recognize members separately is a difficult thing, but we make up for it with a formal announcement on the WhatsApp group as a proxy to using it in the meeting. We did try in a few meetings to have member recognitions done, but we went way over time, so we decided to stop that practice. Club, district, and international leaders recognized it. They are recognized, and in fact, but I would also like to mention that if your club member is a district officer, in that case, you do not need to recognize the district officer in every meeting. So you do not need to acknowledge the presence of your division director or your area director if they are a member of your club. So it's okay for you to not acknowledge the presence of Nagesh or me, any of us, or when Nancy was an area director or when Akanksha was an area director, you don't need to acknowledge. So that's totally fine. But any guest coming from outside, we do recognize. Club and member achievements publicized, I just covered it. DCP is used for planning and recognition. Well, we are so committed on DCP that we complete our DCP 9 points before anyone else in the district. So that's how we can go. That's as fast as we can go. So that's it. Anyone wants to add anything on this or anything overall? We'll take this last 5 minutes if it says something, and we'll wrap up exactly at 12:15. If you have anything else to add, which is not covered in this one, please do tell us now. Anything, and nothing is off the hook. Okay?
So, sorry, I just have one doubt in general. Is there a place where we can find all the recorded sessions? Let's say, what is the way to do that apart from the Facebook Live? For example, this one is a recorded one. So can we go back, or do we have to reach out one?
We have started the Facebook Live so that we have everything on the Facebook Live. We don't have to manually record it somewhere and again upload it. Okay. See, what's happening is that these recordings can be written only for a brief period of time, right? So there is an additional work that comes in because of uploading this somewhere, which is on YouTube or somewhere, right? So that's a additional load on the club officers. So one of the things that we try to do is also reduce their workloads, because they're already, the effort that goes in for a meeting. There are 3 posters that Sayed creates for a meeting. There is an agenda that is built that is so, meticulous in terms of the design of the agenda and the rest of the preparation. So we just try to reduce the workload. But often what is happening is we are trying to now upload the files on YouTube channel. We have started that process from last week. So we will see if we can continue, but I can't promise you, Ritvik, that we will be able to sustain that, because in the past we could not sustain it. It becomes too much of a work, to be honest. And
no, like if it's there on the Facebook, it's fine. Like 1 or 2 sessions, I think in between got missed. So there I had.
No, every session is there on Facebook. If you don't find it on the Facebook page, check the Gabbys India profile. In some cases, what had happened is the SA who had started the meeting did not. So there are 2 options. You want to upload on your Facebook page or you want to upload on your profile. And they did not know, and they uploaded on profile. That's why it went to the profile. Every meeting has been telecasted live on Facebook. If it is not on the Gabbys Facebook page, it will be there on the Gabbys profile. Both the links, Sayed has already shared. We will share it once more after the meeting so that ensure that you are friends to the Gabbys, which you already are, and you are also following us, which you're already doing.
Sure.
Anything last 3 minutes?
If that link can be shared here, I could also join that group, Facebook group, or anything. If it's open for, yes.
Absolutely, it is open for everyone. Sayed, if you don't mind, can you put those social media links on Zoom chat as well?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Anyone, last 2 minutes? Okay, so as a closing remark, as the presiding officer for the Moments of Truth session, here's a piece of truth on behalf of someone who started this club. As the club sponsor, as the charter member, this club, when we started off, I never thought that we would come this far and this fast. And we always thought that we'll fizzle out and we'll lose interest, and then we'll just be another club that was a flash in the pan. We are now 120 meetings. It's incredible. It's incredible that we have been so, and each of these 120 meetings, except for barring maybe 2 or 3 meetings, we have started our meetings exactly at 1000 hours. As I said, the number of role takers who have missed last minute dropouts, number of times we have had to reach out outside the club for getting role taker support. That has also been something which we can really count and say that has been that rare. So participation, involvement, and the quality of the meetings, everything has been excellent, and because of which where we are. And as I always say, the VP membership position is a prize posting in the Gabbys. You do nothing and members just come in. That's wrong. You do everything and the credit goes to the VP membership. And that's how the Gabbys operates, because every time you take the stage, whether it's Vijaya, Utkarsha, and don't think whether you are a great speaker or not a great speaker, because remember, there is someone who gets inspired by you, someone who gets inspired by me, someone who gets inspired by, Nancy. And that's how the world operates. I know people who have called me up and said, even for speakers who are not like there at the level of some of the contest winners, they have said, I got inspired by this person. You know why? Because Saurav Ganguly as a batsman can inspire more people than Sachin Tendulkar can as a batsman, for the simple reason that he looks more within the reach, right? So never worry that whether you are a great speaker, you're still inspiring someone. So thank you. As a VP membership, I wanted to thank all of you for building such a great club and giving me an opportunity to serve. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Saurabh, for conducting this Moments of Truth activity with such sincerity. A note to all the members here, in case there's something that we haven't covered so far, in case there's something that you want to share, you don't need to wait for Moments of Truth. Just reach out. Reach out to any members of the XCOM group. You can reach out to me personally on DM, to distinguished Toastmaster Saurabh personally. Don't wait for us to reach out in case you are having mentorship issues, in case you are having membership issues, in case an orientation is missing. I know most of you have already been doing that and we are helping you with the answers, but still a call out once again, we are there for you. Thank you so much. And with this, I adjourn this meeting. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you.